Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So we are in our Mig-21bis again. Today we're going to look at taxiing to the runway, taking off from the runway and landing on the runway. So, is there anything to know before we get shifting to the runway, Star?
Just how the taxiing and steering system in principle works on the ground. It's very similar to aircraft like the Mig-15 or the Spitfire, for example, where you have to push in the rudder in one direction, pull the brake lever, and it will turn you in that direction. Recommended taxiing speed is usually about 40 to 60 kph in straight lines, so you can actually use your rudder to keep you on the taxiway instead of having to waste pneumatic pressure the entire time. Cornering speed, however, is significantly lower, so if you want to go around the corner, bring it down to maybe 20.
Okay, you lead to the runway, Star.
The pressure.
I quite like the little red lights, the red backlights.
Yeah.
Oh, Cap, just so you know, when you're going to take off, she likes to nose down.
Yeah. So that is noise is me pumping the brake, wheel brake.
Yes. Make sure not to waste all of your hydraulic pressure.
Yeah. Not doing very well at not wasting my hydraulic pressure. Okay, that's as straight as I think I'm going to get a start. Right, should we talk about the takeoff procedure?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to start by turning on the nose wheel brake. That's the little tadpole-shaped grey lever on the roughly top left of your dashboard, right above your ADI.
Roger, so do you want it horizontal?
Yes.
Nose gear brake, is that turning it on or off?
Turning it on, so when we come back to land, for example, or if we have to abort a takeoff, we have max brake power with.
Understood.
And the other thing we should probably do in preparation, particularly since you don't have it keybound, if you look at the gear lever, you want to open up the... Otherwise retracting the gear is not going to be fun because it won't work.
The gear lever?
Yes.
Oh, put it to... Oh, unlock it, you said.
Exactly.
Yep. Roger, I've unlocked it.
Next we take off, so basically put on the brakes.
Is it a burner takeoff? How do you take off? Burners on?
Yes, usually.
Right, brakes on.
Throttle up, you can pretty much hold full military.
Roger.
And make sure your engine temperature, exhaust
flaps.
temperature...
I haven't done flaps, have we? Yep, they're already set. There, that middle one is set to flaps, just showing the people.
Alright, so if you look in the front right corner, you see a warning light panel with two red. As soon as your afterburner comes on, one of those lights will go green.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna push the throttle all the way forward, and the moment this green light comes on, we're gonna let go of it.
Roger.
All spooled?
Yep.
Yep.
Full afterburner in 3, 2, 1, now. And let's go.
Yep, we'll see the afterburner. Oh, it's loud, Star.
So at about 250 kph, we're gonna start to pull the nose up slightly because you don't want to break the gear. And at 300 to 350, we'll lift off. And then you have to be careful to keep her stable, which is kind of a pain in the ass. As soon as we're off the ground a couple of meters, retract the landing. And then make sure to recenter the gear stick, otherwise you're gonna lose all your pneumatic.
Gear neutralized.
Since we have a good amount of altitude now, we can also retract the flight.
flaps. Is it the, yep. Troy?
It's the front one.
Yep. Stand by.
Yeah, generally you want to come out of afterburner once you've achieved about 600 kph and 600 meters of altitude. If you want to climb any further, you want to try to keep the speed at about 600 kph at 95% RPM.
I've got a massive down trim on the moment, so I'm going to just neutralize that.
One important thing to note, after takeoff you need to retract your taxi and landing lights if you use them before you reach 700 kph, or they can actually...
Roger. Okay, I'm burning up to find you.
Another few numbers that might be interesting for some people. The longest range speed for this aircraft is about 650 to 600 indicated airspeed kph, depending on the exact altitude where you're flying. The longest flight duration you're going to get out of around about 480 kph IS. That's constant. By the way, you could also engage your stabilization autopilot now if you feel like.
What does that actually do? Does that take control away from me?
No, that's just the altitude hold autopilot that does that. I'm currently not, because I'm lazy and I'm waiting for you.
On my way.
The stabilization is basically like the dampeners in the F5, just not quite as good at.
Oh, it's something I should have on, do you think?
It doesn't hurt for the most part.
Okay, you're going to have to tell me where to do that.
If you want to do it manual in the cockpit, do you remember your radar altimeter? It's in the very bottom left of the dial.
Roger.
To the left of that, there's this weird shaped panel. In the bottom, there's one thing that says start. You just push that. Should be a green light up. The tooltip is SAU stabilize.
SAU stabilize, clicked, and there's a green light on.
There we go.
I'm falling onto your left wing. I may overshoot. Let's talk about air brakes. Is it a multi-stage air brake? I've forgotten.
I'm throttling up to military power, and no, it's just a toggle.
Air brake out. I'm going to slide past on your left low. If you can just add a bit of power to overtake me, please.
Yep, no, just went back up to mil power, almost.
Okay, I'm back with you now, Star. Right, about general flight, anything we should know about general flight?
Yeah, try to not invert her for more than 15 seconds, or 5 seconds if you're an afterburner, or 3 seconds when you're an emergency afterburner, otherwise your inverted tank is gonna run dry and you're gonna stall the engine. Also, try to avoid really high angles of attacks, which, will stall the aircraft, and compressors doesn't like either of it.
Roger. Alright, Charles, do you want to put her in a lazy turn, head back to base, and we'll start discussing the landing?
Sure. Turning left, and no.
Yeah, visibility is a real problem.
It is, particularly with all the dirt that's on the canopy. That's actually one of the issues I have with the aircraft. I don't see how it makes sense to model it with all this dirt that probably was on some museum piece that dug up.
Roger.
I mean, I don't know. I don't personally know any Russian pilots, but I kind of doubt they'd fly it like that.
Agreed. Seems very twitchy to me, Stahl, compared to an F5. It seems like just a bit twitchy.
It's not a very stable aircraft at all.
You don't really need the afterburner light. You can hear it when it goes to afterburner.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Okay, let's talk about a landing procedure then. What kind of approach speed? What do we want to hit the runway at? 300 or?
A bit above that. At threshold you want around 340, 350. During approach you absolutely do not want to go below 300, otherwise you'll drop like a rock.
Yep.
Already 340 is going to be quite low of an approach. So we'll approach from further away at 600-700 maybe, deploy first stage flaps at about 500, second stage flaps at about 400-ish, and then shoot for about 350 until we reach the threshold, throttle back all the way to 0 and let her glide in.
Roger.
Right, since we're already at about 600 kph, so we can just deploy our gear.
Cap deploying gear.
We have to think about.
Check the gear around. They're out, but they've got no tyres on the wheels, Shaw.
You rotated too late.
Good lord. Will it still land?
Well, yeah,
Probably.
yeah. I've landed plenty of them like that. It's not very comfortable, and you won't brake as nicely. But
Okay. Tell me when we want flaps.
first stage now.
First stage now. Does that mean the intermediate?
Yes, the takeoff flaps basically.
Yeah.
Gonna take back power a little bit.
Can I press P for parachute?
Yes, but not now. At about 320 kph. Basically, the moment you touch down, you should pretty much be fine. Unless you touch down way too fast. Second stage flap.
Second stage flaps. Right, gear out, second stage flaps out.
Good again to combat the drag.
Have lost the... Yep, bit of power going on.
Keeping her at about 400 for now. Still gonna take long enough to get us to the runway like that. They'll notice once you drop below 400, that's when you get the real wobble going on.
Yeah, that's horrible. Do you aim your gun pipper at the base runway or above it?
A little bit towards the end, basically, since we are flying at almost 10 degrees AOA right now. I'm gonna start to bring the power back slightly. Also means pull the stick back a little bit because the AOA is gonna increase. The power. And the threshold, just cut power and let her glide in. I won't use the chute so you don't crash into me.
Cap touchdown. Cap, shoot. I'm landing, Shell, I'm landing.
Nice.
I didn't even use any brakes. Hey, that stops pretty well, you know. Okay, so
Yeah, still haven't used any brakes and I'm down to about 150 kph.
Nice.
So.
Okay, so I've got no tyres, but it did grip okay.
Yeah, the tires are a bit fragile. The landing gear itself is okay.
Roger. Yeah, it seemed pretty robust when I landed. Okay, so that's me landed there. So what did we learn? So that was flaps sound intermediate at 600, 450.
Gear at about 600.
Oh, sorry.
First stage flaps at about 500.
First stage 500, 400, full stage flaps. Over the threshold, just over 350. Cut. And just touch down. So I guess the main problem people make is coming in too slow.
Yeah, it's either coming in too fast and popping at tires, or coming in too slow at horrendous AOAs where the aircraft is almost uncontrollable and you can't see where you're going. So you need to get that speed just right.
Roger. And I took off too late, obviously, and burst my tyres. What should I be airborne at? 350?
350 the latest. You want to start pulling at about 250 to get the nose wheel up, otherwise you can also pop it.
Roger.
Alright, I'm coming in.
Alright, okay, I hope that helps. We might as well watch chaos come in. Learn from our lessons. 350 at threshold.
Don't be afraid to add power,
He's got it, he's got it.
Describe him gently.
Nice, much better than mine. Shoe didn't come out.
For me.
Scratch it, it did.
No, it didn't.
It was just bugging. That was a nice landing, that was so much better than mine. Okay, that's an example of how to do it.
One thing also, if you notice that your Mig-21 on approach is getting too slow, don't be scared to add power, like pretty much all the way up to full military. because you're gonna need it. At the kinds of AOAs you're flying with the flaps out, the gear out, you have so much drag. You need a lot of power to even keep those low speeds up.
Roger. Okay, anything before we sign off, guys?
No, I think that's all sorted.
Okay, thanks for watching, hope that helps, and I'll see you.